Yeah. What's up, guys? Happy Monday, April 24th, 2023. Yeah, weird stuff happened. Went live on a different link, and then everything stopped. I guess my internet dropped for a couple moments, which, if it's gonna drop, at least it dropped when we weren't in the thick of it. So hopefully it doesn't drop again. That would be inconvenient, but it shouldn't. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Good profitable weekend. Whatever sport you played. Baseball. MMA. NASCAR. Playoff basketball. It's a good time to be a playoff hockey, right? Good time to be a sports enthusiast. Mic is super loud. Ooh. Alright. Let's see. Is that any better? Oh, I just have... It's peaking hard, ain't it? Let's turn filters. Let's turn filters down a little bit. I have a gain up pretty doggone high. Is that better? Let's see something. No, that's not the right one. Yeah, that's my bad, chat. It should be working now. I honestly have no idea why that happened. It's worse. Yeah, it was using a different mic input, but my regular mic input is this. But I had my gain was I set my gain really, really high, or actually really, really low, because you guys had complained that you couldn't hear me. So now I turned the gain all the way off, and it seems to work. So I don't understand. I need a producer, y'all. All right, well, Wow, we're off to a heck of a start. First stream crashes. Now we have audio issues. Oh well. At least it's all at the beginning. We got all past this. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Shout out to Dylan, Dion, Dang Lazy Mofo, Shannon, Melinda. Says you're another good NASCAR weekend. Let's go Talladega. I heard there was like a little bit of a controversy in the scoring for NASCAR. They paid out prematurely, potentially, maybe, possibly. Pinstripe, what up, Pinstripe? Optimizer like in Pascatino with no rule set. Only see a good Wolbo. What else might I be missing? Optimizer is based purely off of projection, so I guess look at the projection relative to other players you're playing, and see if it's just crazy high or if it's a just great value for the salary. What up, Great Kid? What up, Logan? Mighty Saint, Slim. That's one way to get chat interaction. Maybe I messed up my mic on purpose just to see. Engagement. What up, Travis? Greg, I appreciate you guys for being here and dealing with it. Apostles at Talladega. He said it was dope. Dude, Talladega. I don't know. I haven't gone to a NASCAR race. I used to chill by Dover Downs in my younger years. I never been to a race, though. And I always wonder if those super speedways were great in person because it's so freaking big. My two favorite races as a kid were Talladega and Bristol Night. And I fell in love with Bristol Night because of playing video games as a kid. That was like my favorite track to just crash everybody. But I feel like if you went to a Bristol race, you could see everything because the track's so small. If you went to Talladega, you know, you got binoculars, radios, all that good stuff, which is cool too. And then more likely to see spectacular car wrecks. So I don't know. Would you be fine with the Blue Jays 1 through 5? Yeah, probably. What up, KJ? What up, Andrew? All right, we're gonna do some research here. Let's pop open the weatherman. Do we have weather open? We don't. We need to get weather open. So let's pop open Rotogrinders /weather /MLB. Shout out to Kevin Roth. Gonna go to Michigan. Is that Michigan International Speedway? I wish I haven't fallen out of love with NASCAR, but I just haven't watched it much. But when I was a kid growing up, even 5-6 years ago, I was big into it. Tony Stewart. We've had this talk a few times. Love Tony Stewart. At Cleveland, cold temps. At Minnesota, another game with cold temps in the 40s. Friendly reminder that cold air is dense air, and the ball does not carry as well in these kind of temperatures. So, no rain to watch, right? We're good in that regard. Bristol Night is hard, but he said he could see everything from where he was. Only went to Daytona, but I tailgated. I mean, yeah, it's good to make a full day out of it, I guess. Remember Taka Michinoku? Choppy, yeah, Val Venus. Hello. Biological ladies is whatever he tweeted out the other day. Something definitely happened with DK and NASCAR. Is winning on 600, all of a sudden went a little over 800. Yeah, Melinda, there's a little controversy where when NASCAR reviewed the final scoring or whatever, it's allegedly inconsistent with what DraftKings paid out. DraftKings allegedly paid out before NASCAR confirmed their results. And allegedly, people made or lost money based on the inconsistent results. And allegedly, a guy who finished 5th place would have finished 1st place. So it's like a $95,000 mistake. So I don't like. I'm not in it. I didn't play it. I don't know it. I just what I see on Twitter. That's a crazy situation. Hopefully, they come up with a resolution that makes everybody happy. What up, wow? Oh, let's check. Yo, check. You make yourself a FanDuel account. Go check. Yeah. What up, Daniel? All right. So what are we doing here? We already did weather. All right, let's go game by game here. We're going to open up the rundfs.com MLB VIP spreadsheet. Game number 1, 7:07 Eastern, first pitch. There's a couple games lingering between now and then. We're just going to focus on the main slate. Lance Lynn is on the bump up against Chris Bassett as the Blue Jays return to Toronto. Get those bums out of my country for now. I'm sick of seeing them. 4.1 run total for the White Sox. They're coming from a trip in Tropicana. And the Blue Jays have a 5.1 run total, which at first glance, 5.1 is top 3 on today's slate. So to double back to your questions, 1 through 5 Blue Jay stack. Good. Looks fine. It also looks like it wouldn't necessarily be unowned because of the run total, but also I can see way more eyes looking into LA. Lance Lynn, let's put some Lance Lynn stats from this season. See how he's been the fastball extraordinaire from years past. Roof opens in the desert. My Blue Jay. Hey. When the Yankees have an all-star caliber injured reserve, okay? It is what it is. And one thing about the Yankees, you guys need to at least give them some credit, is that bullpen is somehow really good. And they don't have Lou Trevino. They don't have Jonathan Loaizaga. They don't have Tommy Kahnle. They're missing guns, you know what I'm saying? And then the offense without Stanton, Donaldson, whatever, Harrison Bader, it is whatever. But that bullpen, man, 12.8% swinging strike rate here for Lance Lynn through 4 starts, a 403 xFIP. xFIP has gotten better the last 2 games. First 2 games, rough out the gate against Houston, that happened. 603 against San Francisco, and then below 4 the last 2 games. Batted ball data, 34% ground ball rate, so he's allowing a lot of line drives and a lot of fly balls, and those are the 2 ingredients for the homers. But the infield fly ball's been pretty good, but a lot of that's from the first 2 games as well. So it's fun with small sample size. You don't really know what to latch onto and what to start away from. So I tend to focus on the overall body of work with the overall xFIP, overall Sierra, and swinging strike rate. So the Sierra under 4, xFIP right around 4, swinging strike rates on his side. The barrel rate's 8%. It's respectable for a fastball thrower, and then 46% hard hit rate. So not going to wow you, not going to blow you away. 8,400. I would imagine this pitch count's in a good place. If you have the gall to play a limited pitch-up mix pitcher against the Toronto Blue Jays, then you do you, boo-boo. 100 bullets. Let's go. 6 and 5.1 innings. He's, because of how shallow pitching is, like I understand if you diversify your pitching pool in the back end, I just don't see a reason to get to him in short entry, so I won't. And then Chris Bassett, when I was researching him 5 days ago, he had some very uncharacteristic fly ball rates that I wanted to double back and see if he got, if he was taking corrective action, or is that the new Chris Bassett. If you guys remember Chris Bassett historically, the last couple seasons for him, 51% ground ball rate to righties, 45% ground ball rate to lefties last season. And then when I checked on him in his last start, a sub 38% ground ball rate. And that actually went up a little bit on his last start where he had 55% ground ball rate. And he's had like career highs of fly ball rate. So he did find something in that Houston game that kind of looked a little bit more like Chris Bassett. He had a 5 ground ball to fly ball ratio, and that was easily his best of the season. Also, his best xFIP of the season, and his average swing and strike rate. So the White Sox have not been world shakers here. They are missing a couple of names as well. AK, if you're hoping for a get me over 16, maybe he's still some strikeouts in this lineup, and maybe he gets back into the heavy ground ball type of pitcher that he has been historically. Again, no warm and fuzzies, but I'd be more likely to click on Bassett than Lance Lynn. If for nothing else, then the strength of schedule is on his side, right? Lance Lynn has the much tougher matchup than what Bassett has. But that's not to say the White Sox don't have a couple of guys in good spots. In the last 3 seasons, Bassett has struggled to keep the ball in the park against lefties, $1.25 plus on the home run per 9. Benintendi, not really a power hitter. Yasmani Grandal, 160 ISO from the left side of the plate, 140 ISO from Benintendi. So not a ton of power to get you running. So if I had to pick between these two, I'm probably leaning the Bassett side. And then absolutely we can get down with some Blue Jay stacks. Like I said, they may not be as owned because of how good the Angels look pre-flop. But let's see, what can we get? Are Brewers still bad against lefties? Yeah, we'll check that out. We're still young in the season to where seasonal splits are still kind of wishy-washy, but especially teams against lefties. Lefties, it's a lot slower to rack up innings and sample size against lefties than it is to righties. So even, we'll look at it, but it's not gospel, right? Only Dalton Varsho picking up double-digit ownership. Everybody else in the single digits. So, yeah, Blue Jays look like a pretty modest stack to get to. I don't mind it. Bombers will be fine. Hopefully Rogers traded to the Jets, confirmed. All right, well, I feel like that's something we knew a month ago, but kind of weird for it to finally happen, right? I guess weird's not the right word. Congrats to the Jets fans in chat. All one of you, possibly. I don't know. Anybody out there a Jets fan? If so, I'm sorry, or I'm happy for you. I don't know. I didn't read that. All right, let's move on. Marlins and the Braves. Edward Cabrera on the bump against Spencer Strider. Strider pre-flop looked like the guy of this slate, right? If you are just hyper-focused on strikeout rates, we've got a almost 40% K rate for Strider. Everybody else on the slate, we're dealing with Jordan Montgomery, Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray's a maybe. I think he could surprise some people here. But this is just like a different echelon of pitchers compared to Strider. So kind of like a situation like yesterday where Jacob deGrom is just in a different category when it came to that slate's pitchers. Kind of had the same thing for Strider today. And with that said, what are we thinking on Strider's ownership? 70% owned. Wow. I mean, it makes sense, but wow. What about for Fanduel? And for full disclosure, I ran 150 lineups on Fanduel yesterday. Lock button, Jacob deGrom. I just YOLO, right? I don't know if that's the approach I want to take with Spencer Strider today, because I do think there's deGrom, and then there's like, what do they call it, S tier, the top tier, and then, regular tiers. I think relative to what else is available here, Strider's definitely in a class of his own. So it's closer to 50% on a one-pitcher site. All right. Strider last year, like I said, almost a 40% K rate. We'll pull up his numbers from this year. What up, Jake? Strider gets the lock button 150. Hey, I respect it. Would you do Strider lock button 145 in 5 Marlins stacks? 18% swinging strike rate this season. Holy cow. Batted ball data, a 306. We love to see that. Ground ball rates kind of low, but it is what it is. Hard contact rates, respectable. 5 Rees allowed 2 barrels this season. That's great. 14 hard hit balls. That's great. Yeah, just really good numbers. Everything that you could ask for, he's got. Last thing for the check boxes would be his pitch count, and he threw 98 pitches. So just far-fetched to not expect Strider to be the best pre-flop play at pitcher. 70% is quite the ownership price tag on him. What are the prop world saying? What is the prop world saying about him? 49.5 fantasy score, 9 strikeouts. Wow. I mean, wow. So that's really, really good. We're going to put Strider in the tier 1. And then Edward Cabrera. How's he looking this season? Dude, Edward Cabrera, you guys, I mean, this is nerdy, but you guys, any of you guys type like you're supposed to, right? No looking home rows. You could type Edward Cabrera exclusively with your left hand. That's just a cool thing. I never had to take my right hand off the mouse. Fun. 11.8% swinging strike rate. Only the last outing against the Giants, where the Giants just seem to be a strikeout team this season. But only that game did he exceed 10% swinging strike rate. So could be a little bit of an anomaly. 5.4 overall xFIP with a 3.25 against the aforementioned Giants. 2 barrels, 4.2% barrel rate. Pretty respectable. Coming into his call-up, he was one of the highest touted prospects in the Marlins pitching system. So I guess, you're holding out for him to find it. But is he going to find it against the Braves and one of the more talented offenses? Maybe, maybe not. Last year struggled with righties. The last 2 years of big league sample size and elevated home run per nine, 2 righties. And then last year really held lefties down. But I am kind of curious to put some context to that. Let's see. He's got 11 innings pitched against lefties this season. 158 average, 1 homer, 6 hits. So 2 extra base hits. How's the batted ball data looking for that? Very small sample size. 53% ground ball rate. That's pretty good. Pull rate's at 50%. Fly ball rate. Okay. And then let's pull that back to last year. But basically, I just want to see if him stifling lefties is real. Last year, 36 innings. More innings pitched against lefties. 2 homers. What's the batted ball on that? Ground ball rate was 45%. Pull rate was 33. 20% hard contact rate. So really good numbers last year to expect him to kind of keep lefties off the board. Matt Olson, the guy you would look at for lefty power, and if he can keep him down, like maybe he taps into this 28% K rate. It's a high risk reward. I would say modest reward, but in context of this slate, like 16 to 20 out of Cabrera, I guess isn't impossible, and there is some strikeout rates that be had. But of course, I would rank the Braves offense higher. So in the totem pole or in the podium, it's going to be Strider 1, Braves 2, I guess Cabrera 3, and Marlins 4. If we had to rank this game out, and then Braves relative to the rest of the field. Typically, when 3 other games have a higher, what was the run total? We said 4.8. So we might get the Braves pretty low owned again. Hitters, ownership, just Acuna at double digits. Everybody else kind of free. So, yeah, I'm taking my chances with the field here. It's a shorter slate. So it's a good chance I have access to probably 80% of the teams on the slate. But I do like scenarios where I can get good teams like the Braves, like the Blue Jays, you know what I'm saying? Like upside, well-rounded teams at single-digit ownership because eyes are locked on one place. And this is just a well-rounded Braves team with a good mix of pop, power, and speed. So I'll get to them just because it's pretty easy to do so. What are you guys thinking here? 70% because you can get the cheap stacks. Yeah, pricing's been bad all year, Jack. On a 7-game slate, I think we get to a good amount of Marlin stacks. A good amount. Man. I mean, I don't know what your definition of good amount is, but because he's that high owned, I would imagine the Marlins aggregate ownership is like 1%. It's literally 1% through and through. So, I mean, 5%. Like I said, if you wanted to lock button Strider and put him in 145 and then ran 5 Marlins heads panic button stacks, like I don't think that's crazy. But I don't think when you say good, like I think of that as like high volume. I don't think you really don't have to. Like you can be at 4 or 5% and be incredibly over the field. 5-6 times the field on those stacks if that's how you want to get down, which is fine. But is the Braves bullpen's been pretty solid, right? So even if Strider did only go 5 innings because of a big pitch count, I don't know that we don't just cut the game in half, right? Let's see, relievers. I like to throw away money though. I respect it. Atlanta's bullpen has the third highest WAR. Let's reverse that. The sixth best xFIP, 3.42 Sierra. So overall, their bullpen's been pretty respectable. $1.12 on the WHIP. That actually looks like the best WHIP in baseball. Maybe there's like one or two better. So even if Strider wasn't long for this game, yeah, Jesus, Miami's bullpen's been really good too. It doesn't look like it's like, okay, we unlocked the bullpen and the bullpen sucks type of situation, you know? All right, let's move on. Yankees at the Twins. And Twins! Johnny Burrito up against Sonny Gray. We've got a 3.5 run total for the Yankees. Yankees are plus 132. Wow. Twins minus 160 with a 4.3 run total. Sonny Gray been pretty good. Johnny Burrito been not pristine. He reminds me a little bit of Luis Gil. If you guys remember his stint last year, he called up. I think he kind of tight-roped his way into good results. And, of course, there's some good stuff in him. It kind of the same with Burrito. First game, he fell into a great game. Then he got absolutely slotted. And then it's just been kind of projected to be like a contact pitcher right now. 10% swinging strike rate on the season. You take out that 20% from the first game, and he's an aggregate under 10%. So not somebody that I have a lot of warm and fuzzies with rostering. A 5.16 xFIP on the season, 5.31 Sierra. It is a travel spot for the Yankees, and they're down bad. So I understand why the Yankees are plus money. It's just so weird to see it. Historically, when the Yankees go to Minnesota, usually it turns into chaos. But that's like when it's like August, crazy hot. This is the opposite. This is actually a game that Roth warned about being cold, right, in the 40s, and dense air, ball does not carry. So this does not project to be a shootout like it has been, but you just never know. If I had to pick an offense, of course, I'm way more likely to get to the Twins picking on Burrito. Looking at Burrito's batted ball data, 40% fly ball, 18% line drive, 42% ground ball rate with a 32% hard contact rate. So nothing like crazy. The fly ball rate's a little bit elevated, but like we said, that dense air, maybe we just get a bunch of warning track shots. I don't know that there's any upside in rostering him at 68. Looking at this lineup, couple strikeouts to be had. Buxton's an elevated strikeout guy, but he's also really, really good. They just got Jorge Polanco back. Joey Gallo, if you're not going to miss his bat, he's just been rejuvenated this year. So, yeah, I certainly would subscribe to some twin stacks. Trying to guess who the Yankees bring out the pen yesterday. They brought Michael King, piggybacked off Clark Schmidt, and then the game just kind of got away. I think Ian Hamilton, I think he is the one that got in a lot of trouble. So I guess the front end arms would be available if the game stayed tight. So I guess that's possible. And like I said, the Yankees bullpen has been one of the better bullpens in baseball, even with their injuries. So maybe it is a stifle spot for the Twins. But I do think batted ball data alone, I like the matchup for the Twins offense. You just have to deal with the elements. So with that said, what kind of ownership can we get on the Twins? No one's there. So I like this. So just foreshadowing a little bit. Is Arizona or is Los Angeles that chalky? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 guys at 20% or greater. So yeah, we have the pick of the litter for the rest of the field. And then what was the other really, really high run total? There's the Angels. Oh, and the D-backs, because they're popping the lid, right? So is that where people are at? Yes. So a lot of D-backs. KC has a big run total. Yeah. So seems like the field's going to be concentrated on the Chase Field game and the Angels. So Twins in a good spot. Blue Jays offense, Braves offense. So we do get a really good chance at some good offenses. And that's probably one way to make those Strider lineups a bit more unique. Obviously, we've been talking about ownership strategy all year, and it's a condensed slate, so ownership's going to be more coagulated in good spots than even usual. But there's still a reason to be on the Twins here against Burrito, and I am. Yankees, we'll just always stack Yankees, right? But Sonny Gray projects really well. One thing the Yankees have not done is score a lot of runs. And it's painful. It's painful. We've been winning some close ones. You look at the Yankees scores lately. It's been rough, man. Even when we win, it's not like we're blowing them out. There's been like one laugher on the season, and that involved like that was a Stanton roster, right? 1 run, 3 runs, 1 run, 3 runs, so 2 runs. It's been a pretty anemic offense, and they are short-staffed, so it's not a high confidence click right now, but we're going to keep going back to this. There are at least a substack, right? You can give me Judge, Rizzo, Glaber, Volpe all day. DJ LeMahieu, king of the 2-hit game. And look at these ownerships, 4%, 6%, and a bunch of oneers. So if I got to get my Strider lineups to look different than everybody else's, there's 4 great teams to stack at lesser ownership. Obviously, the elements and the matchup and the run totals, all that stuff aren't as juicy as the others, but that's what we deal with when we play MLB. I will not be playing Burrito here, and that's that, right? So, Sonny Gray. We got to add Sonny Gray to the mix. So Sonny Gray is probably going to be tier 2 here. What was his ownership at? 25, so 1 and 4. Relative to the field, he is top 3, top 4, so that's fair. It makes a lot of sense. Tell me about Burrito. Like I said, for me, it feels a lot like Luis Gil. The reason Burrito's in the league right now is because the Yankees are without Carlos Rodon, Frankie Montas, Luis Severino. They're already using Clark Smith, who's a fringe quad A big league, so they just have nobody else to pitch. And he was like the best option out of what they did have. So he's not ready. He's got some stuff in him. You could see glimmers, but he's not ready. 48% fastball, 17% slider, throws a little bit of cutter. I think all the Yankees pitchers just have to stop throwing cutters. Yesterday we saw Clark Smith stop throwing the cutter as much. He went from 24% to like 10%, and he was having the game of his life. And then unfortunately, Volpe missed a grab and stab, which then led to Vladimir Guerrero and Dalton Varsho pain, right? Also throws a changeup. His changeup, I believe, is really good. Let's go to Baseball Savant. And like I guess you could think, I'm gonna say crazily, but if you wanted to think exotically, right? Just trying to mix and match a 70% owned pitcher. You're trying to paint a picture of, hey, it's really cold in Minnesota. This is a guy that can be a fly ball guy. How does Johnny Burrito become optimal? Well, this season, 578 expected slug. If I remember correctly, his changeup was really good. Let me look at the changeup results here. Well, compared to the rest of his pitches, 508 expected slug, but it's only a 160 actual slug, so he's probably getting a little bit lucky with the expected batting average is higher as well. 34% whiff rate on that changeup. So if he did well, it's probably a mixture of weather and Twins just being bad. Let me make a pitch report for Twins here. I don't know, maybe I'm a pessimistic woe is me kind of guy. Changeup for the Twins. Carlos Correa hits the changeup well. There's plus grades for Kepler and Polanco going back to last year, and then the rest of the lineup's kind of rough against it. So I don't think I'm going to get to him, but I get it. Giants have been striking out heavy since that game where they line up hit 6 homers. Yeah, Giants have a much higher K rate than like I'm used to seeing, right? What up, Rob? What up? Who's a better option, Boyd or Ray? Boyd has faced 3 tough teams early on: Cleveland, Boston, Houston. Yeah, we'll look at that. I don't think MLB. I'm just hanging out with Gunn. I appreciate that. It'll be October sooner or later. I mean, I if you're still grinding NBA, that's cool. It's a lot of. I saw De'Aaron Fox got injury. That'll probably shut him down, right? That's unfortunate. Tigers at the Brewers. So, do we get a Brewers lineup? No. Do we get a Tigers lineup? Why did it? Ryan McMahon got scratched. Oh, we do have a Tigers lineup. Kill Badu, Riley Green. All right, cool. Matt Boyd taking on Colin Ray. So we have a 4-run total for the Tigers, 4.7 for the Brewers. We'll start with Boyd. Somebody earlier asked to double check on Brewers' performance against lefties, so we'll do that. Like I said, I don't think it would be too fair to isolate their performance against lefties this season, just because it's harder to rack up innings against lefties, and then because of how slower those innings accumulate, you also don't know if it's like an elite tier lefty or like Jace Peterson in the mix. 10% swinging strike rate on the season for Boyd. Last game against Cleveland was his best swinging strike rate, a 5.38 xFIP. That's really bad. Fly ball rate 35%, line drive rate a quarter. Ground ball to fly ball ratio is positive. Pull rate's over 40%, 4% barrel rate. Really good soft contact inducer, looks like. Or at least medium to soft. Not registering a ton of hard hit, 23%, and then a 5% barrel. I don't think I can play Matt Boyd in the year 2023, though. Last 3 seasons, 5+ xFIP against righties. Is he stretched? 82 in that last start. Man, I don't think I can do it. I probably won't. And then to check on some of these lefty splits. So in the last 2 years, just individually, the Brewers do have pretty high K rates against lefties. Almost alarmingly high. Almost a 30% K rate for Mike Purcell, who has been a platoon guy. Like, he has one job, hit lefties. Willie Adames, Christian Yelich, William Contreras, Brian Anderson, Luke Voigt. I mean, this is a really high K rate against lefties. So, might accidentally fall into a couple strikeouts. Last year had a 1-in-4 K rate, but that was in just 13 innings. I think 20% is more so what we should expect from him. What are the lines being offered for Matt Boyd? Is it like 4.5? It is 5. So 5. Not that I want to bet that. It just gives me an idea of what sharp lines or what the sharps have already put lines at, right? So let's get back to our lefty splits from the league. If you have that feeling in your bad knee with Matt Boyd, he's got a lot of stuff going his way here. But Milwaukee's second lowest WRC plus against lefties and 151 plate appearances. So I'll tell you what, let's active roster this, and then let's elongate on this to the beginning of last year. And see if they remain like bottom 5. Because they might just suck against lefties. Because oof. Going back to the beginning of last year, Milwaukee's bottom 7 in WRC plus. So they're close to the league average. So 97 on the WRC plus, 100's kind of like the average, right? With a 27% K rate, which is the highest. And there's a chip in a chair here for Matt Boyd. You have to get past some ugly stuff, but there's a chip in a chair for strikeouts to exist. So I don't think I have the Jones. 6,600. What would you need? I always give me a home run, right? 14. Let's see. 6% ownership. Yeah, I mean, if your risk tolerance is big enough, and you find yourself getting to some Brewer stacks anyway, I wouldn't fault you for trying to play both sides of that. 6K is what it is. It's way more of a matchup thing though, right? Than believing in Matt Boyd. Colin Ray. Let's pull him up. Tigers bullpen any good? I'll look at that. I don't think so. Kill Badu, Erica Badu's brother. I don't think so. What up, Sandra? Can you post the bond detector? Yeah, I gotta remember to. I'll say this, Sandra. If I forget, you can screenshot this. But the bond detector doesn't have a ton of pitcher sample today, so I always feel, I don't want to say self-conscious, but I always feel bad if it's not a lot of double greens, because then people might get the wrong impression or not be able to take the context appropriately. So like Mike Trout looks really good, but it's based off of 25 innings, the sample size of the opposing pitcher, and then Kerry Carpenter's based on 1.2 innings. So I'll try to, but there's not a lot of positive sample. Looking at Ray, 5.7% swinging strike rate. Wow. 503 xFIP, a 43% ground ball rate, a 47% fly ball rate, just a 7% infield fly ball rate, 7.1% home run to fly ball rate, pull rate 33%. StatCast has given us a 10% barrel rate, a little bit elevated, 50% hard hit rate. So all this is like kind of bad. And then last year for Ray, we didn't see him. Was he just dead last year? Let's see, did he play in the minors? Ray. Heard about guys junk more this week than I have my whole life. Man. Yeah, there's been a lot of low blows. Getting a little ticky-tacky. I guess he was just out last year. Did he have Tommy John, or did he go to like KBO or something? Either way, hard to project him as good. The Tigers' offense is really bad, and this is another, much like Matt Boyd. Holy cow! Look how positive a matchup this is for strikeouts. But Colin Ray doesn't bring strikeout pedigree into this game, at least not this season. And then the last two seasons of big league sample size we have, aggregate sub 10% swinging strike rate, under 20% K rate, and this is on 20 innings. So I guess we can look at his minor league numbers in 2021, 35.2 innings, 35 strikeouts, 2019, 148 innings, 120 strikeouts. So yeah, he's been more of a contact pitcher. That was a PCL, but still more of a contact pitcher based on basically everything that we have to go off of. So I guess I can't sit here and say, hey, there's some stuff going for Boyd. I get it if you want to take a shot and not say, hey, there's a lot of stuff here going for Ray in terms of strikeouts. If you want to take a shot, it is what it is. I guess we would have an opportunity at both pitchers at low ownership. Ray is at 10%, so a little bit higher than Matt Boyd. And I think, that's a strength of schedule thing. We're seeing some guys have some gems against the Tigers, so I get it. I would also imagine both stacks, particularly the Tiger stack, come in pretty low owned. Did you guys know this? I was just digging around Fangraphs yesterday. Javi Baez leads the shortstops in defensive WAR and outs above average, and he has like 20 to 30 innings less than everybody else. And I was like, really? Javi Baez? So El Mago, still magoing. Let's look at the Tigers. I guess there's a little bit of ownership on the Tigers, huh? They're actually higher owned than Ray is. And the Brewers a little bit as well. Willie Adames and William Contreras. All right. Man, do I add either to the pool? That's why I like nights like this on Fanduel. I don't have to take these risks. I can see it, but I don't want to. I don't want to. Couple 170 plus ISOs, and yeah, park upgrade for the Tigers in some climate-controlled baseball, right? Brewers have a 32% carried on this. That's just crazy. Tigers bullpen any good? I'm looking at the Brewers. So results-wise, they've given up a lot of homers. Again, I think the overall bullpen metrics right now can be misleading because a team like the Tigers, sometimes they're in a more lopsided game than usual. So you don't get the front-end arms or the back-end arms or the position player arms sometimes. I guess I can't really recall the Tigers getting smoked yet. I know that the Athletics is just rewriting history when it comes to suck right now. Bullpen, Detroit's bottom 3 in bullpen WAR. They actually have negative WAR, so yeah, it looks like their bullpen's bad. And then Sierra. Can you help me with the best pitcher to steal against on today's slate? Man, with the new rules, all pitchers are kind of susceptible. I guess we can. Honestly, it's gonna be hard because a lot of these pitchers don't have a lot of big league sample. I guess it'd be easier to look at the catcher. But man, I think good base stealers are just stealing bases against anybody right now. All right, Detroit bullpen. Detroit's actually top 8 in bullpen Sierra, but the xFIP's at 4.25. How about league-wide WHIP? Detroit 18th in WHIP. What a 23%. So the bullpen's nothing special. Actually has negative WAR. So if that's keeping you away, it probably shouldn't. Let's check it. Actually, I think I did see a notice that the Brewers lineup came out. That was on. All right, so they are throwing Mike Brasso, Willie Adames, William Contreras is batting 3rd, and if I'm reading this correctly, there's no Christian Yelich. Luke Voigt, Owen Miller, Joey Weimer, Perkins, and Bryce Turang. Alright, anybody got a... Is it Blake Perkins? Is that who that is? I just see Perkins. So, is it all lefties? I mean, all righties? Brewers are going all righty against Matt Boyd. In his 609 xFIP last year against righties, 5+. Then we have two guys I can't really track in Perkins and Turang. So real quick, Blake Perkins. I mean, there's a Hall of Fame of whitest names ever, and he's a brother, huh? Blake Perkins. I would have not guessed that. Let's go 2022 splits. Turang. Gonna be so chalky. Fire up Boyd. Yeah. 310 average against lefties last year. A 890 OPS. 8 strikeouts in 58 ABs with 2 homers. All right. And then Turang. Oh, wait, that's this season. Wait, no, it's not. No, it's not. 2022. Bryce Turang. You only want Contreras and Adames. It looks like those were the two highest from them. What up, Travis? Hope you're doing all right. Let's go splits on him. You guys lurking, perhaps for the first time? I always ask for a couple things. Hit a thumbs up, and then see if you're subscribed. We do a lot of baseball content here. 293 average to lefties last year. 782 OPS. What's the home runs? 4 bombs against lefties and 181 at bats with 9 doubles. So, what was the strikeouts? 48 Ks in 181 at bats. So it's like a 20-something%. Eh. Alright, we'll green light that. Angels the shot. Yeah, it's looking like Angels and Chase Field are going to have a lot of ownership. Man, I just had some Chinese food before I went live, and my fortune cookie says, accept the next proposition you hear. I feel like that's bad advice. Athletics have a 4.2 run total. Angels at a 6. We got Ken Waldichuk taking on Jose Suarez. Waldichuk bad. Suarez kind of bad, but so are the Athletics. So let's look at Suarez. See what we're gonna get away with here. I started every year after about the first month. I recode my spreadsheet for everything that I want with the new stuff, whatever. I have a notebook. I literally hand draw the spreadsheet and then I code it. I'm working on it. And you mentioning the stolen base stuff, I'm trying to come up with something that could express that. I think it's going to be more so tilted towards the runner than the pitcher catcher, but it is something I'm going to try to. I used to have BSR on the index portal, but base stealing wasn't like a thing in the last 2 years, and now that's back. Maybe I'll just put BSR back on the index portal. 9.3% swinging strike rate for Suarez. 6.78 xFIP. Wow. Mariners, Nationals, Yankees. Statcast has given us an 8.2% barrel rate, a 40% hard hit rate, and then ground ball rate sub 40%. So it's like a 60+% fly ball / line drive rate with almost a 10% home run to fly ball rate. Infield fly ball rate is really, really high though. Like really high, like ridiculously high. That's interesting. So probably not on the short list, but again, you can do crazier things than pitch against the Athletics. Although I think a lot of the Athletics suckage is more so in their pitching. Like they have no pitchers. They have a couple of bats. Like you saw Shea Langoliers take DeGrom, Yabo. I think Aledmus Diaz is a big league player. Brent Rooker looks really good. Esteury Ruiz is pretty good. So I do think they're much better offensively. Not quite like the Red Sox, right? Red Sox, I think, are they're like a poor man's Red Sox, where their pitching is atrocious, their offense is scrappier than they get credit for. The Red Sox offense is, to me, pretty good, but their pitching sucks. So I'm not that enthusiastic to run to pitching against them. But at sub 6K, like I wouldn't point and laugh at you. Waldichuk, I would point and laugh at you. You crazy, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. And then the Athletics bullpen. I don't know what the record is for most runs allowed ever by a bullpen. But, man, I mentioned it yesterday with EMAC. It literally feels like 2 times a week I look up and there's a team with 18 against the Athletics. Like, their bullpen is so bad. And, you know, their bullpen's just backing up extremely bad starters to boot. So, team stats, pitching, relievers. Sorted by WAR, as you would expect. The worst WAR in bullpens. Home run per 9. Are they number 1? They are 4th in home run per 9. A 6.34 xFIP. Jesus H. 276 BABIP. 6.5 K per 9. I mean, this is just atrocious. Like, why even, you know? I'll go to plus stats, so relative to the league average. still fourth in home run per 9 plus, 72 in K per 9 plus. Yikes. 107 average plus, 131 whip plus. Is that number one? I think it is. And I think there was one game where one of these kids walked 8. Yeah, 131 whip plus. White Sox is second. Huh. They're bad. So you have to look at every team ever against the Angels this season, or excuse me, against the Athletics this season. And when the team includes Ohtani, Trout, you look even harder, and I think that's what we're dealing with today. Every day seems to be one super chalk pitcher, one super chalk stack. Today, the Angels look like they could be that super chalk stack. The Chase Field game is also grabbing a ton of ownership, but 30% on Mike Trout. Single entry cash games that you might even see that at 50+%. Ohtani, kind of the same thing. Just a really good spot. Ken Waldichuk, 12% barrel rate coming into this season. Let's go pull up this season metrics. First of all, he's a lefty, so I immediately think historically of Anthony Rendon, and then Hunter Renfroe. That's a name I like against lefties. So right off the rip, this lineup, this Angel stack builds itself. 9.6% swing and strike rate, 5.52 xFIP fly ball rate plus line drive rate is like almost 70%, with a 38% pull rate. Hard contact rate surprisingly not super high. Barrel rate is respectable. So not as much hard contact as you would think, but a lot of contact nonetheless. 318 average allowed. What's his 323 BABIP? BABIP's a little elevated, but yeah, great spot for the Angels. So Angels in the stack list. I would probably get to a sub-stack of Athletics, and arguably a stack of the Athletics against closer to a contact pitcher. Esteury Ruiz is grabbing some ownership, but again, outside of those top 3 owned teams, I think this offense, like, you can give me Jesus Aguilar, Langoliers, Aledmus Diaz, Ruiz, Brent Rooker. I can get behind them. And then the Angels bullpen has been above average, so it's not like a super plus spot, but just ownership, lucrativity. Like, I'll take a couple shots there. I think the sub-stack sounds more appealing, where I can sink my teeth into 3 and then put them with a 4-stack on Fanduel or even a 5-stack on DK. But I wouldn't be opposed to a Athletics onslaught, just versus field ownership. What up, Ryan? I love the smaller MME contest that DK releases after the big ones fill. Much lower variance is worth maybe having slightly lower ROI. Yeah, I like them for football and basketball. See, back in my day, it used to be the opposite, where I would try to scoop as much cash games as possible early in the day, and then hope that people forgot and didn't adjust their lineups, and then those type of people just kind of eroded out, right? But now I like the backups just because, yeah, smaller field, easier to bank and stuff like that. So I'm definitely thinking like you are. We're like 6% Oakland and 150. I don't mind them. Angels are overrated because Trout and Ohtani. Angels aren't good. So the thing is, you don't have to be good against the Athletics. I have a saying: bad hitting beats bad pitching. And you'll probably hear me say that once a stream. And this is the bad hitting beats bad pitching. And I don't even think the Angels are bad. I have to slightly disagree with you there, particularly against lefties. But if you ever watch some of the world scale stuff, like the World Baseball Classic is a great example. If you ever just pay attention to what's going on in the KBO or sometimes the Japanese leagues, when American average to bad pitchers go over there, they turn into Kershaw because it's so bad. And then sometimes when those pitchers come over here, Fujinama and stuff like that, they get hit up real fast. The average hitter in the majors is so much better than the average to great hitters in other leagues. That bad MLB hitters against bad MLB pitchers to quad A pitchers like Waldichuk in this bullpen, they should just go bananas. So don't have to be good to get stacked against the Athletics. But this Angels team last 2 years ISO against lefties. Ohtani almost 300, Trout over 250, Renfroe almost 250, Brandon Drury almost 300. There's a really good spot and a lot of 4+s on the bond detector. So it's not even like I'm playing them just because it's the Athletics. I do think they look like a good stack. And then Angels or the Athletics bullpen. Horrendous. Look at Big Rich in the chat. Who like it on PrizePicks? I haven't really gone back and forth yet. I guess because I do believe in the suckage of the Athletics, we'd probably look for some Angel stuff to bet. And they have gotten much sharper and way more annoying with what you can play. I guess Ohtani hitter score, Mike Trout hitter score would be two that I get to. I wish we could get like hitter scores or total bases for everyone. So I guess if Taylor Ward got on, you're kind of betting that Mike Trout or Ohtani get him home. I guess that's a possible positive correlation. Renfroe looks good for a homer, so half a run. So most Angel stuff I'm into. I highly doubt we're getting any Waldachuk props. We get strikeouts, but not really. You can bet Waldachuk plus Chris Bassett first inning runs allowed. Yeah. So you're just betting on Waldachuk to get hit up. Let's move on to Royals and the D-backs. So Chase Field projected had the roof open. It is pushing 90 degrees out there in the desert. Brad Keller's on the bump for the Royals. Tommy Henry on the bump for the D-backs. Implied run total for the Royals 5. Implied run total for the D-backs 5.8. Two contact guys. Brad Keller coming to the season with a 16.5% K rate, 1.5 WHIP, 4.37 expected ERA. And Tommy Henry, 47 innings pitched last season, 1.45 WHIP, sub 18% K rate. So both these guys are going to allow the other team to put the ball in play. With Brad Keller, though, he does have a pretty high ground ball rate, at least coming into the season. We'll see if he's kind of sustained that. So maybe against just the thought of how chalk fails, maybe the elevated ground ball rate could keep the ball in the park. But he still struggled with keeping the ball in the park last year, a 1.26 home run per nine to lefties. Corbin Carroll looks like a problem in that regard. 276 ISO against righties so far in his career. So, yeah, looking at Brad Keller so far this season, 9% swing and strike rate. And then batted ball, a 60% ground. So he's still keeping the ball on the ground. The xFIP is still high. And half a home run per nine with all that coming in that Texas game. I think that was a roof open heat game. 133 BABIP, but that's fine because, you know, home runs aren't included in BABIP. So with the 60% ground ball rate, based on 50% the season prior. Looking at the D-backs ownership, 1-4 for Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, and Josh Rojas, Lord Escorial, Gabriel Moreno in the teens. Maybe we start. Maybe we get a little bit different in the Strider lineups, right? We don't want to attach too much talk. Like you want to walk into a tournament tonight with D-backs, Angels, Strider, right? Like you're gonna be holding hands, and yeah, it could work, but it is also just insane hand holding going on. It would be like "We Are the World" Michael Jackson lyrics or something. So maybe that's what I would do. Is I would one or the other, and then I'm more so seeing a path to failure for the D-backs just based on the batted ball profile of Brad Keller than the Angels. So just a thought. Let's look at Brad Keller against lefties this season. Specifically, 13 innings pitched, 167 average allowed, 1 homer. And then ground ball, 60% ground ball rate to lefties. 18, so he's not giving up hard contact either. So even if you got nickel and dime, Still make a case that he doesn't die, right? So, just thinking out loud there. Let's put D-backs down here. We'll also get Royals since we know we're getting there. Not likely to pitch Brad Keller because it doesn't really give us upside from a DFS standpoint. If you fade the D-backs, you're just hoping that Keller ground balls his way into 5-6 innings. And then you hand the ball over to the Royals bullpen, which has been so bad. So bad. So I get it. Tommy Henry on the other side here. Let's see what he's been working with. What up, Andy? Man, we are going through these water bottles. Suarez is bad and A's are bad, so who wins? Bad hitting beats bad pitching. I think Suarez, I don't know. A's, there's some, I would lean the A's side there. It's got to be real demoralizing to be a hitter on the A's. You're kind of just playing your way to a trade or something. 11% swing strike rate. Oh, that's last year. Has Tommy Henry been pitching in the minors? The Reno Aces. One, two, three, 4 starts. Last start, he went 6 innings, 6 Ks. Start before that, 5.1 innings, 9 Ks. Start before that, 3 Ks. So 18 strikeouts in 16.1 innings. So more than a strikeout per inning. The whip is atrocious. 1.41 on the whip. 0.73 ground out to air out ratio. 2 homers in those 16 innings. A little bit elevated. Is it the walks? 7 walks in 16 innings plus 6. So a hit per inning. Yikes. Yeah, he's bad. Dang. It's always crazy to see stuff like that get called up. So yeah, good spot for the Royals. The D-backs bullpen has had a walk problem and a home run problem, keeping the lid open. So looks like a perhaps old-fashioned Chase Field game should break out. But again, ownership is going to be there, so we have to just be strategic with how we attack this game. Bobby Witt, 30%, man. Is that the highest on the slate? That's like Troutish, right? Trout, Bobby Witt. Good lord. I mean, good lord. Which, chalk doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means let's be strategic, you know? Because probability of success, probability of optimalness is still pretty high for these 3 teams. It's just when you start grouping them all together in the same lineups with a 70% owned pitcher, you're losing a lot of uniqueness, and it's tougher to usurp the field and get to first place. So if we wanted to get to some Royal stacks, and I think that's the beauty of this slate, we're still getting some high upside teams like the Blue Jays, Braves, Twins, Yankees. Those 4 teams, I think, have upside worth chasing, if not chasing, sub-stacking at really low ownership. So that's probably how I would shuffle that deck of cards. We haven't really identified a lone pitcher that feels sneaky, right? Not really, no. It's just one of those days. All right, we're stacking both offenses. I'm not pitching Tommy Henry. I'm not pitching Brad Keller. Last game on the docket. For that, take a pause for the cause. You guys want to hang out for the week? Go to rundfs.com, click VIP memberships, find a membership right for you. Every membership comes with a Fantasy Cruncher voucher. That is the optimizer I use to manage my portfolio of lineups night to night. The season pass for MLB, also including NASCAR coverage in the first month, I believe, of NFL. For $300, you can rebate that down to $200 if you take advantage of that $100 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher, and the same song and dance for the year pass, or just try out a week pass, see what you think. When you do upgrade, click VIP portal, and then you'll see a link to the spreadsheet and a link to the RunDFS.com, VIP Discord, and right around here, if you go to the MLB channel, MLB voice chat, I'll be chilling in there a little after this show, making some lineups, player pools, shooting the breeze. I'm sure Rods will show up. Shout out to Young C. I don't know if Young C's out there listening, but today's a big day for him because he gets. They're announcing the NBA Sixth Man of the Year, and he had some money on marketing a long time ago. A wise man told him to do it. I don't know who, but he did it, and tonight he gets to cash out. So it should be a party. Drinks are on Young C. Cardinals at the Giants, your main event tonight. Jordan Montgomery taking on Alex Cobb. Cardinals have a run total of 4.2. The Giants just 4. So a combined 8.2 game total. It might be 8.5 or 8, depending on where you can bet. Monty versus Cobb. Both pitchers are interesting. Just in terms of stuff, pitch count, and ability, there's always a chance for Jordan Montgomery. Last year, a 4 expected ERA, so there's going to be some games where he's pitching really good, a 13% swinging strike rate coming into this season. And then what we've seen out of the Giants so far is they're privy to the strikeout. So let's go to Monty's profile, see what we can decipher on him, and then taking a look back at pitcher ownership. Monty's coming at 12%, and Alex Cobb's coming at 8%. So both of those are very intriguing numbers in the interest of just becoming different versus the field, right? So Monty is at 8.7% swinging strike rate. That's about what you would expect for him. That's not great if you're hunting strikeouts, but 3.93 xFIP we can get with that. 47% ground ball rate, line drive rate, fly ball rates. The line drive rate's a little elevated. Fly ball rate's fine, especially with the infield fly ball rate. And then StatCast is giving us a 12% barrel rate. We wouldn't want that to be so high. And then we looked at the Giants this year, man. They are striking out. We've been swinging and missing. So 29% K rate against lefties. Since the beginning of last season, I believe, is stat metric. So on this season specifically, just overall K rate is at league high 27.7%. And then if we active roster that, and go to versus lefties. With Baltimore starting today. Ada, that might not be on the main slate. I don't think it is. I only covered the main slate. I could maybe take a look at it, but I'm not sure what you're asking. This season specifically against lefties, San Francisco 29.7%. Wait, that can't be this season, is it? They have 249 plate appearances against lefties. That's got to be top 3, right? No, it's barely top 10. Okay. And then we'll elongate on that to the beginning of last year. This active roster against lefties. Giants have the second highest K rate since the beginning of last year with this active roster. So Monty's not a big swing and miss guy. Hasn't been lately. We know he can be historically. I think he's in the mix because we do need some low-owned pitchers that don't just suck, right? And if he's gonna, be outside top 6 in ownership, I'm here for that. And then I'll foreshadow a little bit. I'm expecting to probably get into some Cobb against the Cardinals. Might be one of those scumdacker spots though. Maybe on both sides, just because we're looking for lower owned offenses to kind of diversify. 10.2% swinging strike rate for Cobb. 258, really good xFIP, really good. Almost a 60% ground ball rate. So a lot of stuff adding up in the plus columns here. 8.2% barrel rate. And then looking at his pitch count. 92 pitches, 90 plus in 2 of his last 3 starts. I think we're going to get to Cobb just based on individual talent and ownership, if that makes sense. DeJounte Murray suspended for Game 5. Man, these NBA playoffs are drama-filled, huh? Looking at this Cardinals lineup specifically, there's a solid lane of strikeouts here. Not a matchup that I particularly sniff out to hunt down strikeouts, but I'm just kind of betting on talent. So this is a 4-corner spot where I want both pitchers, and I think we're going to get access to both offenses at a cheap enough ownership that it's just worth it to be on all 4 sides. Hitters, 5% or less for everybody. Yup. St. Louis, 5% or less for everybody. So, yeah, 4 corners. Pitchers a little bit higher than the offenses for me, but I'm here. No bomb detector. I guess the Darren Ruff, if he gets a shot at a lefty, that's kind of his thing. But he may not be long for the game if they go to the bullpen after just 2 at-bats for Ruff, right? So we're still waiting on the West Coast lineups for most of these games before we can actually start chopping some stuff up. Let me take a look at that Baltimore game for you. Chris Sale against Dean Kremer. So what's the question for Baltimore? Don't know if y'all already covered it, but what do you think of Baltimore starting today? You mean their offense or their starting pitcher? If it's the pitcher, I'm not interested. If it's the offense, man, the Chris Sale is a walking two outcome pitcher right now. Strike out or get beat up, right? So I would be on both sides of that. I don't know the context of that slate. Looking at, I wouldn't play Gomber. I would probably play some Chris Sale. It would be baseball if Erod almost has a perfect game against them and then Chris Sale gets demolished. Taj Bradley's in a tough spot. Nick Lodolo is interesting. That's a tough slate for pitching. Chat, you guys got anything else for me? Let's look at baseball schedule tomorrow. There's another one of those Monday, Tuesday, and then weird games or what? Tomorrow, 2, 4, 6. All right, so there are some games tomorrow that are early. A lot. There's a 6-game slate that could start at 5. If it's like today, they won't, and then we'll focus on a 8-game, 9-game night slate, which is still plenty for the main. And then on Wednesday, it's another day slate. So I guess this is just baseball as we know it. But there could be a main slate on Wednesday. So tomorrow we'll shoot for the same. Yes, either 3 or 4 Eastern. Yeah. Anything else from you guys? If not, I'm gonna get into Discord. I wonder if I have time to take a shower. Waiting on these other. I can't really do much until these lineups come out. But yeah, I'll work on keeping this spreadsheet updated for the Vipers. As always, man, I just look for 3 things from y'all. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that sub button if you're not already subbed. And then someone in your life today would probably really, really enjoy if you told them out of the blue that you love them. Let them know. You just never know. I love you guys. I'll see you guys mañana. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.